video game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Level 2 podcast. Today, I'm joined by the lovely Tom, as always.
Hi.
I don't know if that's by choice or just forceful.
It is my basement, so
It is.
I'd like to think that I would be here.
And Walker is our guest today. He joined us for a couple VR games today. He didn't get motion sick in Windlands and made us real mad.
Yep.
So
Gonna get him.
yeah,
I'm gonna work on it.
So let's start off with tell us a little bit about yourself, like because you're a gamer. One of the reasons we brought you on is because you like talking about video games. You joined us for the VR stream weekend. You were there, even though I couldn't stream it. But tell us a little bit about like your gaming past, kind of. What was the console that kind of got you into gaming, or PC if you're a PC gamer?
Sure, yeah. No, when I actually first started, it was I grew up in a household raised by my mom, and she was absolutely like no video games, limited TV, real strict.
Me and Tom were like, oh, that's game over.
Right,
No pun
and so
intended.
it's that classic, like, oh, you were so deprived from it, so when you finally get it. You overload, right? So eventually, stepdad comes into our lives, gets us a PlayStation 2. This was the Christmas it came out. It was like the hot item. Nobody could get them. They were sold out, and he somehow got one. Blew our minds. And so when we finally got that PlayStation 2 and some of the starting games, do you remember? Not Time Crisis. What was the other one? Shoot.
So I'm going to tell you a really sad story.
Yeah.
I've only played PlayStation. I've only played PlayStation 2 when Tom has made me record it. I'd never owned a PlayStation.
Yeah, well,
You're just sad upbringing.
I had Nintendo. I was a Nintendo guy.
It makes me cry.
I was a Nintendo guy.
Yeah.
I went Nintendo to Xbox. I didn't play PlayStation because PlayStation was the devil.
Yeah. Well, PlayStation was my first dive into it. Started getting into the games. Started with Time Splitters, as Tom reminded me, and then from there, just kept playing. Continued to getting a PlayStation. I'm still on PlayStation. I do have a PC as well, so I play some PC games on Steam.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Because
Tom can't play PC.
Yeah, it's true. I can't, and that's why I asked the question. But because I grew up on Commodore 64 was my first.
Yeah.
So he's
which was kind of a PC in a way, right?
I mean, technically, all things are PCs,
right? But
just as the input is PC.
I started, with consoles on the Mega Drive or Genesis in this country, and it got to a point where I was so used to a controller that I could not do mouse and keyboard. How easy was the transition for you starting with PlayStation 2 and then moving on to PC? Like, was it easy? Did it take some time?
There's a steep learning curve. The biggest thing for me was I was so used to moving forward and turning left and right. Strafing was not a thing.
Right.
Like I didn't have any concept of strafing or how to use it tactically in a game, specifically like shooters, like with early Wolfenstein.
Right.
And so when that was my first transition to PC was Wolfenstein, like
so
the original.
You went big.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was trying to go through these halls, turning left and right as I'm walking, and it's miserable. Like I can't imagine doing that now. But it took some getting used to. I also was only using keys. I didn't have the WSAD and the mouse yet. I was just like keyboard and then space and then shift. And so
Gotcha.
That's probably what messed me up a little bit. But eventually, I honestly prefer control scheme on the mouse, just a little more fine-tuned control.
I do PC games. It was Tycoon series was my that was my jam growing
See,
up.
I think strategy games wouldn't be quite so bad.
Yeah.
Like I can play XCOM on a PC because it is turn-based and there's no twitching required, but I could never play
quick games
like an
at all.
FPS game or anything.
You know what's real sad is the fact that I wish I had a PC for Planet Coaster. So Planet Coaster, have you heard of it?
I think you showed me the preview.
So it's the same. It's the same creators who did Roller Coaster Tycoon series back in the day, but they broke off. Little side note here: Roller Coaster Tycoon World, I think is the name of it, got released same time Planet Coasters got released. Planet Coasters got 9s and 10s. Roller Coaster Tycoon Worlds, which is the Roller Coaster Tycoon brand, has gotten 3s and 4s.
Interesting.
So the good guys
like that when you have Transformers and then you have Transmorphers.
Yes,
which is in the bargain bin there.
Planet Coaster though is the people who made it versus they're keeping the
Transmorphers
brand.
being better than
Yes.
Transformers.
So Planet Coaster is way better customization, but it's PC only. I have a Mac, clearly. Well, I don't know if you can see. There's a Mac here.
That's mine.
That's Tom's Mac, but I have an iMac at home that I game on, but I took Windows off of it just because it became more of a hassle doing updates because I don't boot up into that often. But I might put it back on just for that game because I love my Tycoon games.
Yeah.
Love them. So that was...
You are a Tycoon.
I'm very sad that that's not on anything else I can play. They need to bring that over. Or make a Mac version, which never will happen because...
Probably won't.
Nobody likes gaming Macs.
Well, they might release it on PS4 or something. I mean, a lot of PC ports are getting.
I was kind of surprised
unexpected
Subnautica.
PS4
Well, I could
ports.
see it on Xbox before I think on PS4 because
Yeah.
Subnautica came to Xbox.
Well, you're dealing with Microsoft, and
They make especially with the cross-buy, cross-play,
Exactly,
whatever it's
yeah.
called. So let's do what we normally do. Let's talk about what we've done the past week. Play any games, that kind of stuff, movies, TV shows. We'll start with you since you are a
Sure.
guest. What have you been watching, playing?
Yeah, well, I was big in the last week on Watch Dogs 2.
Okay.
So you got it.
I liked the first one, contrary
Did
to
you?
the public.
I
Yeah,
hated it.
I know. Everybody
hated
hated
it.
it. I really enjoyed it.
To me though, I had such high hopes. Not graphics, like the graphics thing was whatever, but it was more the gameplay loop was just so repetitive.
It did get
That was my
repetitive.
problem.
I appreciated that they tried to break the mold, which was GTA. So when they finally were like, okay, it's not just guns and stealing cars and underground crime, where it was like, okay, we have a purpose. We're trying to upset the establishment, kill the man, right? That was nice. It was cool to see technology finally acknowledged as like being pervasive in the world. Where still GTA 5, which I think was the latest, a couple years back.
2013.
Yeah, I mean, so they're still, very low tech. Everything is, actual pistols and.
Hey, they have smartphones now.
They
So
do
little,
have smartphones
little
for
fun
GTA
fact
5.
about GTA in the Prelude.
iFruit.
Yeah, the iPhone. In the Prelude, when you play it, it's like 7 to 10 years before the game happens, and they have a flip phone versus a smartphone. So when
that's
you play the
funny.
game, it's a smartphone.
That's great.
Yeah.
So Watch Dogs 2 was my big one. They really did a nice job with it.
Have you ever been to San Francisco?
I have, yeah.
What do you think of how well they've kind of replicated? Obviously, it's shrunk down a little bit.
Considering the
Crowd
size, the sheer volume that San Francisco takes up, it's pretty remarkable how accurately they depicted very specific areas. So obviously there's a whole lot of in-between spaces from, like the Fisherman's Wharf or Silicon Valley that,
got shrunk down because they couldn't do.
Exactly.
Or
And-
it would be boring.
Right. And so they did a really nice job of getting those classic San Francisco locations.
Lombard Street. And
Absolutely. Yeah. Very accurate. One of the cool mechanics is actually this whole scout thing where you take selfies at major landmarks and you gain followers as part of it. And it's a really cool mechanic. So it's very appropriate
So
for
you
the
play
time.
social media in Watch Dogs.
100%. Yeah. Your whole thing is you're gaining followers. Now, the tie-in is both social media, but you're also using the followers that join up with you, DedSec. They download your app onto their phone, and you use their processing power. Create your own botnet.
Oh, that's
Yeah. No,
Again,
they really did.
so the reason I didn't get Watch Dogs 2 is because I was so disappointed with the first one. I don't want to buy
Give
the
it a
game.
shot. I
won't buy the game full price. I refuse because I was so let down. It's the same thing
Yeah.
that happened with Destiny. I did not buy Tankey King full price because of how let down I was by that game.
Common sentiment.
Doesn't mean I won't go back and buy it at some point, but I don't want to pay $60 for it.
I've been torn about it because I watched the conference that had Watch Dogs 2 in. I forget if it was Ubi. Was it Ubi or was it Sony?
It's
Ubi.
well,
Right?
Yeah,
one of the two.
Ubisoft.
So
Well,
yeah.
at E3 somebody. I
So
don't know,
Ubi, I think,
probably
finished
Ubi.
their whole section with Watch Dogs 2, and we were watching it together.
Yeah.
So
Well, they finished it with Steep. Remember, because that's the new IP.
Oh,
the
yeah,
big
it
thing. The
was
worst fucking game ever. Don't buy that game. I have strong opinions on that game.
you have strong opinions in
I
general.
got into the alpha and the beta, and it's just garbage.
But I remember
Anyways.
us watching it and then just thinking, nah. Because we both played the original. We both felt very similarly about the original. Like, in the original game, the glitches were unforgivable. The fact that to escape the police, you literally just have to find a water source.
Yep.
And you could just jump in there and then they would go away eventually. Just that sort of thing. What I was going to ask you is, did you play the original Assassin's Creed and then
Absolutely.
the sequel? So the original Assassin's Creed was kind of temperamentally a good game, but it had this awful repetitive gameplay loop. And then when they got to the second one, they had fixed every single one of those problems and made it not only story-based more interesting, but they sort of made it so that you wanted to continue playing as opposed to feeling like you were doing the same thing over and over again. So is it as similar as a jump between Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2?
I would argue yes.
Okay.
Now, that being said, the caveat is that
He liked the first one.
that aside, I actually like the first Assassin's Creed 2, but with any games like this open world GTA style, I use that only because that was kind of like the first.
That's the one that did it.
Yeah.
Sandbox.
So
Yeah.
that defined the genre. Any of these open world GTA style where you have campaign missions, side missions, and tertiary collectibles. You're gonna find that repetitiveness, and there absolutely is. There's also areas where the tech and gadgets that you use within Watch Dogs 2, you can absolutely exploit. And a mission that should require you to be a lot more challenging, you can just sneak in there with your drone and like
you just take everybody out.
Right. I mean, and it
which happens like you said, it happens in any game.
It does. It's unavoidable to some degree.
Yeah.
Some
like
are
in
more
Madden
forgivable.
last year, if you just threw a bomb down the field and you push triangle, you're going to catch it 7 out of 10 times.
Yep.
Like
the rest of the game, however, completely makes up for it. The variability in locations. They actually did some really wonderful work with current events not officially being portrayed in the game, right? It's all coincidental.
GTA does quite a good job of that as well.
These were like massively current, as in like last month current.
Oh.
So
was it a server update?
I don't know if this was,
because you can play online with people. I wonder if it's is it an always online game or can you play offline?
So it is. So sort of. It's one of those where you don't have to be online to play it.
Okay.
If you are online, it's always online.
Can people hack your game like they could on the first
Sort
one?
of, yeah. So you find other people in your game world, other game players, and you can either do co-op missions together, work together, or you can actually be opponents. And there's like, you hack and then you try and blend in with the crowd and they try and find you, and it's always
That's kind of cool.
It's all right. I'm never really a huge multiplayer gamer anyhow. So I usually just kind of bypass that stuff. There's been a couple where I've been in the middle of like game missions, and it's like, oh, there's other players hacking your stuff. I'm like, oh, come on, man! Like I gotta go find them and like knock them out.
See, I don't think you should be allowed to do it if you're in the middle of a mission.
Which
I think
I thought was kind of interesting.
That shouldn't be allowed because that ruins that person's experience if they don't want to be a part of that.
You can turn it off in fairness.
Okay.
It is a setting. I should have said that. Yeah,
okay.
You just forgot to turn it.
I just didn't care that much. Yeah, I didn't care that much.
Because to me, that could potentially ruin somebody's
I turned it off
experience.
on the first Watch Dogs. I turned it off right away because I knew it was going to piss me off.
Yeah.
In some games like Dark Souls, things like that, it makes sense. But I think for Watch Dogs, like unless you are like you, where you just kind of love the experience of having other people join in. Well, but this is not your friends that are joining in. These are randos.
Well, that's like in GTA.
Will fuck with you
GTA, we always do a crew server or a private server because I know who I'm playing with. Then, like I'm playing with David. I'm playing with Cody. I know they're.
I don't think they do that though. Watch Dogs 2, do they? It's like,
not that I'm aware.
It's all public.
Again,
it's all public server. The way from what I've seen. The way it works essentially is they just will randomly show up and be like, here you go. So it's kind of like you're in an instance with somebody, essentially. Not because in like GTA you have separate servers that are public, that are private, that are invite only, versus that it's just you're on their server. So
Watch Dogs 2.
Watch Dogs 2. That's
and you're giving it a couple thumbs up.
Yeah, I definitely would. I don't know what I'd rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. Probably in.
No pressure.
I'd give it an 8. Yeah, I'd give it a solid 8. 9 and 10 would have like blown me away.
Do you mess around in the world? Like, are you one of those people that just goes and fucks stuff up? Because that's what I do. I just go in and just blow stuff up.
Sometimes.
That's my GTA life.
Yeah, I mean that's
the best part of the
I will
games.
say it's not as much fun. However, there's a lot of stuff that you can infiltrate like outside of any kind of real, like you just go into areas that are controlled by one of the gangs and factions. They're just random bad guys hanging around just waiting to bust you up, so you can go there looking for trouble. And running and fighting against the police and whatnot, that's always fun. Racking up your stars.
Well, that's where that's where GTA got its thing. That's where Need for Speed Most Wanted is probably my favorite one, the original one, because of that. I love that wanted level thing.
Couple of things I might ding it on though, just so I'm being fair on it. Weapons. Not as much customization as I would like to see, or variety. The whole premise is that you 3D print your weapons. That costs money, which you earn through missions and other stuff like that. And it's a cool idea,
so
but you have a very small
plastic guns, like
sort of. I mean, they look real fancy, and they got spikes and spray paint and stuff on them. It's very
they're going Dying Light.
Yeah,
it's kind of cliche.
It is cliche. It is. The weapon list is very short. For the custom 3D printed ones, and there's no customization of them. So you can't upgrade them, you can't add augments, you can't add scopes or change out components. You can also pick up any weapon that anybody else drops in game. So you can always change your variety.
What are the hacks like? Because that was something that disappointed me with the original Watch Dogs, was that it almost seemed like there was going to be this massive array of things you could do, and it ended up being like 4 things that you could really do.
They definitely improved on that.
I like the hacking the cars. I saw somebody do a stream of hacking, just randomly hacking a car,
or whatever.
and you can just blow them up.
Every car can be hacked whether it's being driven or not, whether there's somebody in it or not, which is really interesting. And the way that the control scheme just lays out, I won't get super into details, but you can tell it to accelerate fast out of control, reverse or brake out of control, or forward and left.
It costs so much fun.
It is. It's kind of a lot of fun. And some of the upgrades later, you upgrade your tech tree in terms of your quality of hacks and how much resources it takes. That is pretty decent. They did a really nice job with that. And arguably, the game is designed to be using those hacks and exploits rather than weaponry. So,
Interesting.
But you can upgrade it instead of doing one car at a time to this massive barrage of all of these cars just going haywire in all different directions. Yeah, and they just lose their mind, which is pretty cool. So the hacks and exploits are a ton of fun.
I think I'm happy to hear that it's doing better than I had anticipated, which I kind of expected a little bit from reading some of the reviews anyway, which they've been touting quite heavily in every advert they've put out for it so far. Like, look, check out how well reviewed we are.
Yeah.
But I'm with Keegan. I think I would wait for a price drop before I'd go near.
I probably would too, and also to see how the DLC turns out. I mean,
mostly because it's single player too. Like, DLC doesn't really fuss me, but like single player is the replayability factor. Because once I finish that game, I'm never going to play it again.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. I'm a multiplayer guy.
Yeah, so if I can't play multiplayer online with my friends, then I'm probably not going to touch it.
I mean, you could. We do streams every Sunday. Plug. We could play Watch Dogs 2 together.
Here comes the bar.
There's gonna be a little bar that's gonna go whoop.
So yeah, but I think I don't tend to spend a lot of money on single player games. Like, a lot of the stuff I have up there is either something really cheap that I picked up from GameStop, or whatever.
You buy a multiplayer game that plays a single player, like Elder Scrolls.
Or I buy a multiplayer game like Elder Scrolls. The Division I had for a while, I got rid of that.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
If you're not feeling it, Watch Dogs is one of those where you rent it or you borrow it, and then you play it once and you're done.
Hey, you know somebody who owns it? Did you get it digitally or physically?
No, I got a disc. Yeah.
Cool. There you go. You know somebody who has it. Yeah. So we can try it.
I'll toss it you guys away. You can play it a little bit and see how you like it.
Maybe.
What about you?
Good.
What have you been playing or watching or doing? You always have a new TV show every time.
I hate the new TV show this time. My wife started Pretty Little Liars, which is just the worst possible corny piece of shit. She loves it. I mean, she like, her sister watches it, and they start it as a joke, and they're addicted. So it's like great. It's basically like Twilight style writing in a TV series that lasts at least 6 seasons. So, you know.
All right.
It's gonna be a hot second until you finish.
The only things that I've been paying attention to, we talked about a little bit earlier, I've been watching a lot of Stephen Fry based things. So I watch Stephen Fry in America, and also Last Chance to See, which are both on Netflix and both excellent. Stephen Fry in America is basically him trying to hit every single state in America and just sort of stopping by some interesting places on the way.
I think you talked about it last time.
Yeah, it's a good one. The other one with Stephen Fry is Last Chance to See, which is basically, I'll go through a quick thing because I know I've already said this to you two, but no one else here has heard it.
Hey, you guys haven't heard it. If you're watching or listening, because they can do both.
Is that basically there was a road trip that Douglas Adams, the writer of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, made with a zoologist friend about 20 years back, and it was to go and see some of these endangered species that were close to extinction because they wanted to see them before they possibly hit extinction. Then 20 years on, they were planning on going again, but Douglas Adams got very sick and he passed away. Stephen Fry had been house sitting for Douglas Adams when he originally went on the first trip and was included in a lot of the conversations around it. And so the zoologist friend, I believe his name is Mark,
good old Mark,
basically, good old Marky boy, basically approached Stephen Fry and was like, hey, do you want to do this like for Douglas? And Stephen Fry jumped at the chance and then severely regretted it quite quickly. I mean, the idea of sort of being able to visit these endangered species, they did the last one that I watched was an Amazonian manatee, which is, trying to find a manatee in the Amazon is not an easy task.
I didn't know they lived in the Amazon, to be honest.
Exactly.
I didn't know that was a thing.
You never played the Amazon Trail.
Yes.
Clearly.
Interestingly, there's like an actual it's like a tourist area of the Amazon, which is really quite bizarre. When they go there, they have this kind of hotel set up where it has these big walkways that go through the jungle, just go through above the trees.
I mean, if there's any way to make money, somebody's going to find a way to do it.
Right, and it's like a tourist thing for people that they have like just random like jacuzzis littered along this kind of walkway, but you're in the fucking rainforest, you know what I mean? And
I always want to zip line in the rainforest.
So yeah, it's probably something like that. But you still have like deadly shit everywhere. So it was kind of it was interesting that that's something they would consider as not a safety hazard, like having a holiday place in a fucking jungle. But yeah, so Steven actually in that episode breaks his arm.
Really?
Yeah, they're trying to save a baby manatee, and because they have to go to a captive, they can't find them in the wild. They try really hard. They find these red dolphins but anyway, they try and get this manatee and then move it to an enclosure area, getting ready to release it back into the Amazon. And he falls trying to get on a boat and breaks his arm. He's just in this and they don't cut any of it. Like he's like screaming in pain. The doctors come in and it's like. And they ended up having to send him out.
From an editor standpoint, you got to explain why he went missing, though.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
that's what it is.
So
like, he'd be like in text.
So they show they show Mark continuing the rest of the episode, but Steve is just kind of on a beach somewhere, like with a phone, But he does continue on, and I think there's a good 6 episodes or so. The next one I think is White Rhino, which is kind of interesting. But they're talking about like poaching in the wild and things, and kind of how dangerous it is. Mark was telling a story about a group of people he was supposed to meet in the Amazon. For a photo shoot, and a couple days before he arrived, the entire team was murdered in their sleep by people that were poaching, and they just macheted all of these people that he was supposed to meet. So it's not a joke, it's pretty serious business out there.
I have to watch that.
It's really good. Yeah, it's a really good show.
Netflix.
So I recommend that. That's Last Chance to See.
www.com/Netflix.
http:// yeah, but that's what I've been watching. Playing wise, not really anything, honestly. I played a bit of Hollow Ball, which
there will be a blooper at some point where I may or may not, I will not say for sure, punched a microphone.
Yeah, we played some of that. That was a good laugh. I like that game a lot. I haven't played any flat games for a while, but
that's not VR games for those of you listening.
Yeah, flat games is what I'm referring to them as.
Those flat games.
But
have you tried playing a flat game in VR?
No.
You should try
like cinema mode.
Yeah.
No, I have not.
You should try that. It made me real dizzy though.
I should.
Really?
Yeah. I played Division, so it was a lot of things moving.
But no,
I more chill game.
Really am looking forward to tomorrow, because it's even though it's released today, as you know, I can't drive, so I have to pick it up tomorrow, and that will be Final Fantasy 15, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Very much looking forward to. Yeah.
How about you?
The usual, The Division. So actually,
you're so into that, right?
I haven't touched it in months.
It's so good. So a little fun fact. And we might make it a podcast topic, but one of the things that I read the other day is ever since patch 1.4, which is when they were like, we're not going to give you DLC, we're going to fix the game we broke. They've had the same amount of players now as they did at launch, which is a testament to that game, because that game was hemorrhaging players left, right, and center because it was so broken. You'd get stuck in walls, you'd have things that would glitch and not, like I couldn't finish incursions, like things that were game breaking bugs. So you're like, I don't want to play this. It's already hard enough not having to fight the game. They haven't fixed everything. I've had a couple glitches still, but that's, again, way better than it used to be. But today, I was actually late to the recording session because 1.5 dropped on PlayStation 4. Survival is coming out in December. But 1.5 dropped on PlayStation 4, and that means new gear sets, which means I had to sell all my shit and get some new stuff. So I'm in the process of rebuilding. I have over about 300 hours, roughly-ish, in that game. Wow. Me and David and DeGrado and Ian and pretty much everybody else besides you play that game.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I played it for a long time, and I liked what I played of it. I enjoyed playing it as a group, but the problem for me was that it was far too easy to fall behind.
And it's also, you have to play with friends.
Right.
I mean, it's made, and you don't play with friends. That's the thing where I get, at least I always have David. David's like my gaming buddy, so I always have somebody with me. Yeah. And even if I do it solo, I can do some of the harder stuff on solo.
Right.
But you can't do like challenging.
Yeah, I like the option. Like with Elder Scrolls, it's something that I can play by myself and completely ignore the general public, but I can also group up with people and have some fun when I want to. But Division is pure online.
Which is weird because I'm making my Game of the Year list right now, and I didn't even think about it on that list, but I'm like, I clearly like the game. Like there's something there. I think the biggest problem I have is the game mechanics, and the game is, in my opinion, it's a really fun game loop. They just broke it enough that people are pissed.
See, it started to get repetitive as well for me.
But you didn't hit end game. Like the end game loop is so much fun.
I hit endgame.
I don't know, man. I did.
Was at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing some incursions and stuff.
Dude, I finally beat all 3 incursions. That was a pain in the
and
ass.
I have not. I have yet to complete any of the incursions. We've gotten real close.
They've gotten way better. They used to be super hard.
My problem is that the friends that I would want to play with, either the groups were full when I was free, and then I would have to go public matching, and then the public matching.
I've had more success public matching a lot of times.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, but if you get a good group, dude, you guys are fucking
is a big if. Like there are times where I felt I'd do better at playing Powerball than finding a good group. I mean,
I guess I've gotten lucky.
It was rough.
3 or 4 times I've gotten groups and we just stay together and just. The one thing I like to do is when I get in a group, I'll be the first guy on mic and say, "Hey, hi everybody," and that as dumb as that is, that gets people talking, and you're like, okay, let's actually group up and do this, and versus let's be the silent gamers.
Well, yeah, that is the problem. It's like too many times you have, and we're just talking public matching groups. You're going to have completely disparate ideas in play styles and strategy,
and you don't know what people's builds are.
Yeah,
like who's a healer, who's that? Like,
it would be nice. I would love to see them come up with a mechanic where you can kind of list yourself.
What you need.
Basically, take your game profile, your character profile, say. Geared for tank.
Yep.
Open for this.
Or even if it showed you,
even
if it showed you like your weapons and your gear sets. Yeah. To me, that would be enough because I hit the pop filter. I was a Firecrest and a Nomad, which gave me health and fire turret bonuses.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go for Reclaimer, which means when I consume something, it doesn't consume it, and it goes to all the other teams. So I'm more of a healing-based character. So I've switched a little bit.
See, and just hearing you talk about that, this is where I find the difficulty with Division and its commonality with dare I say it, Destiny, is that you have this massive scope of a game. Mm-hmm. It's pretty common for like the first, 20% of it, because arguably most of it's in the end game, and then you have a massive end game where unless you have that kind of specialized knowledge, you're talking Firecrest, I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's just a gear fire based
right. So you have to really understand the mechanics in depth, or you can't play you can't play along.
The advantage I've had is I've gone along with it too. So if somebody were to jump in right now, I think it would be like overwhelming. Like even when we went back in after playing it we didn't play it for about 2-3 months. Getting back in and like Ian had explained to us all that had changed in the first big update.
Yeah, he was the one that kind of grabbed everybody. He was like, "Guys, where'd you go? I just got the game."
Yeah, it was. Well, we told him to get it. He got it, and then we all went to play something else.
We were all doing something else.
But yeah, I just love that game to death. I mean, that is the game. Whenever I'm like, what do I want to play? It's that game, as well as I picked up Titanfall 2 on Black Friday sale.
I haven't played it yet.
And I picked up Skyrim. Skyrim. I might want to take some mods off for test because it's crashed quite a bit on me. I have my loadout order as good as I can think it should be based on what the notes are. So I might take a couple things out and work on it and see if I need to fix that. But it's crashed on me quite a few times. I tried to stream it. We actually might have David stream it because he loves that game. So Sweet. David's part of our stream team. I don't know if you didn't work with Mr.
I have not.
Mr. Macaroni and Dave on YouTube, Mr. Diaz. But yeah, I've been doing that. Titanfall 2 is a lot of fun. You picked it up. We played on the stream.
I did.
The other night.
I was not intending to either because
it's because I hounded you enough. Like Tom, we need to know the game besides Elder Scrolls.
It was a little bit like that. Yeah, it was. You were abusive to me. In some
you got rid of the Division, so we can't play that.
That's true.
I still think one of my favorite nights was when we tried that thing on hard and it just went horribly, horribly wrong.
Yes, I do agree. I had a lot of fun with the Division for the time that I had with it, but I was definitely over it. But the Titanfall was something I wasn't intending on picking up because, frankly, I've gotten a little turned off by like military-based shooters lately. Although I know this has a bit of a twist in terms of mechs, but
it's at its core, it feels like Call of Duty.
Absolutely,
which is not,
but with wall running and things
Call
like
of Duty now has wall run.
Which is one of the things I don't like about Call of Duty. So I was a bit worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
But Jordan, our good buddy Jordan, basically convinced me that the single player alone is worth the cost of entry.
I haven't done yet. I've got on my
and everyone that has played it has said that it's fantastic. So I'm definitely down to play the single player of it just to see if I enjoy that. And the multiplayer is a live, vibrant community that just so happens to have some of my friends involved in it. So it seemed like a good purchase when it was on sale on Black Friday for like $35, something like that.
Yep.
So I did pick that up. I'm still wanting to pick up Battlefield 1 as well.
I can't play the game. I'm colorblind. I know they have colorblind mode, but I still cannot differentiate people because that's just a gray looking game to me in general. Yeah, I cannot tell who's friend and who's foe just because of the colors.
That's not just you. In fact, so I played Battlefield 1 this past week.
I played the tech test or whatever they
Superb.
called it.
Gameplay is phenomenal considering they were trying to work with World War I tech.
I love when you have a tank and a horse that just meet, and then just all hell breaks loose.
I mean, it really is a beautifully done game.
Can't imagine that would last very long.
No, the horse usually doesn't win that one.
Tank, horse.
Aerial campaign is amazing and gorgeous.
The problem I had initially was I think they by default inverted the flight controls or didn't invert the flight controls. I can't remember which one, but it was one of them.
Whichever it is, I fix it.
I went to go like fly, and I went straight down. I was like,
that's all right.
I'm crashed.
Yeah.
You're big into aerial
I love
things.
them. I love them.
Right.
Huge fan.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
Are you a pilot? Trained to be a pilot?
I am indeed, yeah. So my degree is in aviation, so
Right.
I am a pilot.
He's a certified pilot.
Yeah, and he's smart as fuck, in case you haven't known. But is there a particular game, just asking for interest, because we rarely have guests on, is there a particular game that you would point to for people that enjoy aviation that you think is a perfect simulation? Or
See, that is a
Star Wars.
That is a challenging question, because you're either looking for authenticity in the real world or you're looking for fun, and
Why
they
don't you do
seldom
one of
overlap.
both?
Yeah. So if you're looking for authenticity,
let's go sim.
You have two choices: Microsoft Flight Sim,
Which they just are
they
about to release.
rebranded.
They're about to release the newest version of it too.
They kind of rebranded.
Did
It's
they?
technically new software, but it's built upon all of that they did with Microsoft Flight Sim. That's the best really you can go with. It's user friendly. It has a whole series of like training flights. So if you have no experience flying whatsoever, they'll do a cockpit introduction and your instruments and like how they function.
What gets me where I get overwhelmed is just again you sit like I love flying big planes because why the hell not? And there's so many fucking switches. I'm like, just give me the gas and go. Like, give me the gas, give me the landing gear, and give me the wing flaps. That's all I need, and I can take off.
And that's the fun
30,000 people were murdered that day.
If you want to get into some seriously accurate modeling, then you want to go with X-Plane. X-Plane was actually developed natively on the Mac OS platform. And
do they? I assume they all support some sort of controller.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's way better to have a controller than it would be.
There's a million third-party joysticks, throttle quadrants that you can use. Highly recommend that if you're really looking for a full experience. In terms of flying games, like arcade games.
Battlefield 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun. It's super inaccurate, but it's fun as hell. It's a ton of fun to fly.
What's the burnout of flying games?
Did you play the dogfight that they put into Battlefield 4, was it, or 3? One of the Battlefields. They put dogfights in as a multiplayer section.
Yeah, see, probably not, because I'm not a huge multiplayer, so I might have not even jumped into that.
I feel like the odd man out.
Yeah. It was a good time.
They multiplayer all the time.
There is. I know. I'm only mentioning this because you guys had your free to play question
last week.
Post up. Yeah, I started early on. It's called War Thunder.
Yes,
it's on Steam.
I played that game. It's also on PS4 and Xbox.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah,
I haven't played
on
on them. I only played on Steam on PC.
Yeah, I tried to get a whole
gorgeous.
The problem I ran into, again, social gamer. I try to get a group of people to play, and I'm like, it's free, just get it. And people are like, I don't want to.
There are a lot of complaints in the
Bion
community
packs.
about how well it's balanced, whether or not it's a fair balance, and it's clearly a pay-to-win style. So, if you're going in there looking to like get good at it, and probably not going to happen, but you can go in, get some early level stuff. It's a ton of fun to blast around and boom and zoom.
And if you really dig it and you want to invest the money.
I kamikazed a few people, which is always fun.
It's a fun one. And honestly, if you got an Oculus Rift or any other sitting VR, you can throw that on and full cockpit 3D view. Oh, that'd be so cool. It is stunning. It is beautiful.
So,
good show. Thank you for answering that question.
So on to the bonus level. Our question. Question is, why should I buy a $60 game if I know in 2 months it's going to be on sale? We were talking about how you won't pick up Watch Dogs till it's on sale. That's for different reasons, but a lot of times I feel like, especially this time of year, there's just game after game after game. I mean, let's look at just Battlefield, Titanfall, and Call of Duty, which are pretty much the same genre to a certain extent. You can argue
all came out within the last month or so.
October, November, man, every year.
You can argue that they're slightly different, but Well, we won't even talk about last year where Star Wars came out and spent $120 on a game that he then just got.
I just bought it for $750.
Well, I got the season pass as well, so
I
paid it for $60 for the 70 technically.
I paid $750 for the potential of a VR experience.
Yes.
That's the only reason I bought that game. I do not like that game, but I will pay it to fly an X-Wing.
in VR.
Yeah.
So let's talk to what makes us buy a game at $60. What is the driving force for you to be like, I do want like Final Fantasy? You both paid full price because that game just as of today came out. You have it here. Well, you will have it here. What makes you want to drop the $60 on a game and get it day one versus what if I wait and be financially responsible?
I'll start. So I think one of three things draws me into a $60 game. Yeah. So either longevity, which a game like Final Fantasy has in spades, because you're talking about a 100 to 200 hour game.
Yeah.
Much so the same with things like Skyrim and that kind of thing. Like if you know when you get this game you're going to be playing this game for months because of how involved it is, I think it's worth $60. I find it very hard pressed to pay for an 8-hour, 10-hour experience for $60 unless, number two, the story is out of this world. So Last of Us, something like that, I will pay $60 for that because I know that I will never get a narrative like that, and I want to experience it while the zeitgeist is still on that topic, because I don't like to kind of necessarily play something months after it's already been and gone, and I like to experience it fresh. There are only certain games I will do that for, and it's rare because, as we've learned by things like The Order 1886, not always going to work out in your favor. Yeah. I did pick that up for $10. Though.
I want to play that game. Somebody somewhere recommended it for the $10. Like it's definitely worth
$10. I'll totally play that, and I did.
I'll play it. I picked it up. We bought Inter Kung Fu game for $3.
We buy stupid shit for the channel, but as a personal thing, I would definitely.
Please tell me
play
you watch that video.
I haven't seen that one yet.
There's a green fart bubble that happens, and we were so confused.
It's the weirdest. It's not even a game. It's just the stupidest.
That is superb.
So, what's your third thing?
Third thing is a engaging and sort of interesting multiplayer. And I'm talking, I like it when it has a single player. It doesn't have to, but it's better if it's backed up with a good single player as well. But a multiplayer that's going to make that so that I will not want to trade that game for a long period of time. Prime examples for me was something like Modern Warfare 2. When that first came out, that was a game that I wasn't expecting much from, to be honest, but I ended up getting so into the multiplayer of that game, it did not leave my PS2 for close to 2 years. So, I would occasionally, I'd take it out and put a quick game in, play it for like a day or two, and then be like, I'm going back to Modern Warfare, right now, and it just it was the go-to, and it got so intriguing to me when I started learning it. And people are going to scoff at me and fuck you, but there's a quick scoping is a popular term in that
I heard
community.
about it. I was not very good at it.
And people hate quick scopers in general, but at the beginning of quick scoping and the idea of quick scoping, which is, if you don't know, being able to look down the sight of a sniper rifle and fire off a shot at the exact second that your crosshairs land and get a one-shot, one-hit kill. Very hard to do to begin with, but when someone's doing it to you, you think, you motherfucker, you're wrecking me with these. But when you actually see how hard it is to pull some of that stuff off, it's genuinely quite impressive. So I spent 5 months on Modern Warfare 2 mastering the art of quickscoping, so that if I was ever in a they have search and destroy in games and things like that, so you're the last player left and there's one other person, you have to get them, so I could do these kind of crazy quick scopes from across a field.
So you
or whatever.
Literally did the 360 no scope.
I did not do a 360 no scope. I can't do those. I couldn't do 360 quick scopes, but I could quick scope, and I would have some very impressive shots that I pulled off, and you feel so good if you pull one of those off correctly. So certain rifles better than others, but it was something that it was a small thing, but by getting owned by someone that was really, really good at it, it forced me to want to learn, and I spent 5 months every day playing to get that good, and I eventually did get that good. I'm not anymore, but I did get that good.
We're gonna have Tom play Modern Warfare 2. I have it on Xbox 360, by the way.
If they re-release it like they did with Modern Warfare 1, I would consider it for sure, because it was one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time. But something to that level where it's so engaging that I force myself to literally learn it like a martial art. That would be the third option.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to have to echo a lot of that. For me, loyalty to a particular game. For example, I've been following Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect is hands down my favorite game.
That has a couple, because that has longevity and story.
I've never played Mass Effect.
I love it. The story is I'm completely invested in that game. So yeah, that is one the day it is pre-order, it's on my list. I'm getting the full box set, and I never do that.
So to that's more of a sequel of a game that you enjoyed before.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
but
it's interesting. They're not bringing back some of the races from the first games.
It's
interesting. So they are taking it in a slightly new direction.
Races or racists?
Races.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, no racists. Oh, there are probably some.
There are
somewhere.
space racists.
Space racists. Spacists?
Spacists. So no, the loyalty that I have towards Mass Effect, because the quality of game, story, characters that they put out, like hands down, I will pre-order that, and I will spend as much money for whatever max thing that I can get, because I love it.
Let me ask you this: Is it because it's Mass Effect, or is it because it's BioWare?
It's because it's Mass Effect.
So you wouldn't do the same for Dragon Age?
No, I mean, I actually do like Dragon Age. I wouldn't get the full-on box set because I don't have like a... I mean, I really do have an emotional connection to Mass Effect.
Is it a nostalgia thing? So, like, for me, I'm kind of like that with Mario, where anything Mario, I'm like, I need it. Like, Mario is my jam, because I harkens back to my childhood where I grew up with that character.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's kind of similar, like... You're saying you have this attachment from, remember this, but also this game is good because I like these games, and hopefully they don't fuck it up.
I think the difference being that Mario is a character that you relate to that gives you a nostalgic tingle from your childhood. You get a little tickle. But for him, Mass Effect, and you haven't played it, but I wish that you would, because it is genuinely quite a
backwards
good
compatible on Xbox,
tale.
I believe.
Yeah, it's I think for his perspective, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's the fact that the story is massively engaging on a level that not many games have ever reached before. They improved it with every single iteration, but also the dialogue and kind of how you proceed in terms of that characters can die, like your teammates can die before,
because of your decisions.
Because of your
butterfly
decisions.
effect.
Because of your decisions, and also they will stay dead, so that the next time that because what it will do is it will carry your save from the first game to
which
the
is
second
really
game
cool.
to the third
I
game.
like that. I wish sports games did that.
Yeah, so it's if you killed off a character at the end of Mass Effect 2, which a lot of people did, then they would not be around for Mass Effect 3, and that's a heavy heart decision. Like, not only are you going to be fucked out of the character for the rest of this game, they're also not coming back ever for you because you fucked up.
And a lot of that plays in with, initially the first game, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but with Keegan and Ashley, one of the two dies in the beginning. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're getting into spoiler warnings.
I guess.
I mean, 10-year-old spoilers.
At this point, fuck off.
Yeah, it was 10 years ago easily. But one of the two dies, and whichever one does, you can kind of pick which one does, or at least you can't save them both. That will have ramifications for the entire series. And people come back and poke you about it.
But you don't know at the time, right?
No,
one of those
you
things
don't.
You find out afterwards.
You don't.
So to me, that's weird.
It just hangs out, this chip on your shoulder, and you can't get rid of it. And that kind of viscerally pulls me into the story.
It's an emotional roller coaster. But also, the dialogue boxes are more fully formed than most games. It's a case of, it's not just like yes or no, good or bad. It's like there's 4 different quadrants of choice, and each of those has their own ramifications.
And they're not. And is it distinct? Like when you have that option of
you'll
this
notice.
will affect something else.
Not everything has that level of depth as the.
Well, I'm saying
an immediate,
if you do something like, okay, I know this is going to fuck things up, or is it?
Sometimes.
I mean, I'm sure there's some of those moments, but I'm saying in general, is it more of I don't know what this is going to do. I know it's going to do something, but I don't see the immediate result of it.
Not always immediate. No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a mix of both. Honestly, there's no good way to answer that because depending on the mission, depending on the situation, even depending on which
it might if it's like should I shoot this meteor or let this planet die situation, you're probably going to immediately find out which was a good idea.
Yeah.
But if it's kind of, it could just be like
should
one comment that you make to a side character and then later on
frankly, the causality that
back
you're trying to anticipate, you can't. I mean, playing through the game the first time, there was times I'm going, shit, this is going to be an important decision, and I have nothing to base this choice on. So you just kind of go with whatever feels right, or
you live with the decision. Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I really respect that they made those kind of choices. But anyway,
also one of the only games where you can romance people of the same gender.
Sex.
True, and not even the same race. So I had a particular thing for Liara, who's one of the characters. She's sorry.
That was mine as well. Yeah. Yes, I went for her.
I love her.
Yeah.
So I have a genuine emotional attachment to those characters.
She was the one I went for. Yeah. It was there was Atali I liked a lot.
Tyler's
but
great.
I haven't seen a face because she always wears that fucking mask.
It's true. It's true.
Sorry, we're nerding out a little bit over here. But
you're gonna have to play the game, man. You just have to.
I've heard that of many a times from. I finally watched Ghostbusters. I had not seen Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he's still
Like
catching up
original?
with things
Yeah.
from the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was born in '91. I'm trying to figure out some.
Give him another 10 years, he'll play that.
Circle back a little bit.
Yeah.
So
But it is something you'd enjoy.
Yeah, that attachment to the game is one of my big decisions, and the other one is sometimes it's like I've been waiting all year because all the good games and all the big titles, they drop in the fall, right? And they all drop at one
right
time.
before
So it may
holiday.
just be that I'm looking for something new to play, and I'll drop the money just so I can have something new to
After
play.
the, after the
Just
summer
like
drought.
it's
Well, now
got
it's
to
going to be
that
spring
point
because
where-
everything's getting pushed back.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Jeez.
Good enough is
Horizon.
something that will. Yeah, I've had that before as well. I'm just looking for something like it's good enough.
That's where I go. That's where I now go on the PSN store, though. Like to me, that's kind of fills those gaps. But it all depends on what experience you're looking for. Are you looking for a 10-hour
I do
thing?
feel like
You're
they're
looking
getting
for
better about spreading them out a little bit, though. I do
Yes.
recall the first summer that what is it? Red Dead Redemption actually was a summer drop. It wasn't.
never played Red Dead.
You've played Red Dead.
No, I've never played Red Dead.
I feel like I played it with you.
No, we never played Red Dead.
Okay, well
We
you're
never
playing
did.
the fucking next one. So anyway,
I know what it
that
is.
was
David told me
that
to
was a
play it.
summer drop, and it was kind of like surprising because
Well,
that's a GTA
Yeah,
style
it's a-
game by Rockstar. It's huge.
Well, Rockstar can do whatever the hell they want.
Right, exactly. Which is probably why they were brave enough to release it in summer. But the real question is that people usually avoid summer for a couple of reasons. One, because it's sunshiny,
People
so
are
most
outside.
people don't go. But again, they underestimate the cave-dwelling nature of gamers. But
I mean, as we sit in a dark blue basement, literally in a
But,
cave. If we
the-
turn the lights off, it gets dark.
the
in there.
other more obvious reason is it's closer to the holidays. So you know you're getting into that October, November
People's
time
got
frame.
money ready to spend.
That's when you're going to be nagging on mum and dad's shoulder and saying, "Hey."
Well, that's why, like, I personally,
next
I mean, I kind of understand, like, the January, because January's getting more and more games, like the spring, because you have the
mostly
money.
because they get pushed.
Yeah, that's mostly because they get pushed.
It wasn't
but you,
intentional.
But, but you do have the, like, usually get some sort of gift card during the holidays that I'm like, okay, what
That's
game?
true.
But then you could also go back and get the games you didn't get for Christmas or whatever you do, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. But I do like having the spring ones. Like you said, I feel like they're spread out a little bit more. There's obviously certain games that are always going to fall at the same time. Call of Duty's always going to fall in the fall. Madden's always going to fall in the fall because it follows the sports season.
You said
NASCAR
fall so many times in that sentence.
NASCAR's going to fall in the spring because if they fucking do it right, it's going to fall in the spring.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, the last 3 games have sucked big time, and I'm a big NASCAR fan.
I'm so upset about that.
Yeah,
I genuinely,
dude, everybody
I
is. It's on sale. I almost
genuinely
bought it, but the game is so
want
shit.
a
It looks like a
NASCAR
PS2.
game.
Looks
It's
like
really
a PS2
it
Xbox
hurts
game.
the heart.
It
does.
should. But like, I like that they're spreading it out a little bit, just because I feel like, especially last year. This year, I don't feel it nearly as much because I'm rooted in some games. Last year, I was kind of like looking for those games,
Yeah.
and I found Star Wars. I found what was the other one that came out right then? I bought like 4 games. Oh, Fallout. I bought Star Wars and Fallout.
Yep.
You know how many hours that consumed in my life for a little
Elder
while there?
Scrolls, you went back into
Dude,
that
I got
for
back
a
in
while.
Elder Scrolls, like, and those were my 3 games on rotation. So it's like, okay, now it's kind of cool because summer/spring area before the next rush happens, I go back and play games I'd missed. So like right now to me is a drought because I guess got Titanfall, I guess, so it's kind of nice, but I'm now going back and playing games that I hadn't played before. Division's always going to be my staple, but I've gone back and I downloaded I was debating on picking up Witcher because I've never played that game yet, and I need to.
I have it.
Boy.
And I've tried to play it twice and
Yeah.
I'm yet to succeed.
I need to.
That latest one,
Because it was on sale for
Really
$25 on
quality.
Black Friday.
You
I didn't
should
pick it
really.
up, but
if you that is one of those where it's gorgeous, it's well written, the stories are superb, the DLC is outstanding, and it's long.
it's really confusing though watching Jordan
long.
play because we jumped halfway in the story. So that's what I think. That was my first impression. I was kind of like, I don't know what the hell's
Yeah,
going on.
it is a fantastic game, but it's a case of you really have to be ready.
Yes.
And I think that right now with Final Fantasy 15 right around
Yeah,
the
it's going
corner,
to consume your life.
I'm not ready to delve into anything like that, but I like having it because it's in my digital collection, so
Yeah.
I like having it on the back burner because I know at some point I'm going to want to dig into a giant RPG. I am a big fan of Dragon Age as well as Mass Effect, and those types of sword and sorcery games are enjoyable for me, but I think Final Fantasy is, let's be honest, the first JRPG to come out in a long time that has the amount of hype and backing behind it. And it's also, for a lot of people that were old school Final Fantasy fans like myself, that were turned off by Final Fantasy 13 because of the linearity of it and the fact that the story wasn't really all there. I mean, literally with Final Fantasy 13, for those of you that don't know,
He's talking to me.
They had a different character that was supposed to be the main protagonist, but then they released images of a different character first, and everyone was like, cool, and then they assumed it was the main protagonist. So how fucking stupid Square Enix were. They're like, okay, let's make her the main protagonist. She was not supposed to be the main protagonist of that game. It was supposed to be someone else, and because they released promo photos of her first, people assumed it was the protagonist, so they decided, okay, sure, why not? So when you're making decisions that batshit crazy, when you've written a whole game around a different character, it makes sense that this game has been 10 years in the running. So for me, this is a harken back to, and I talked about it before, the summer holidays that I remember having off school, sat there playing Final Fantasy X for the first time, really getting involved in that story and in that world. And this game looks like it has all of that. Not to mention there's a movie and an anime that are tying into that, which I'm going to try and watch before I start this game. But it's
Kingsglaive, right?
Kingsglaive is the movie, and Brotherhood is the anime, which actually goes through each of the four brothers, and I don't know if they're really brothers or not, but it goes through each of the four main sort of male characters and gives you a bit of backstory to them, which I'm told is makes it more enjoyable as you're playing, and because there's a lot of things that happen kind of off screen in the game, which I'm told,
like sex scenes.
No, not so much that. I mean, sure, probably, but
did you watch Conan play it on Clueless Gamer? Because that was hysterical.
I did not,
dude. It was so
told
good.
It was good.
You need to watch it. It is, as somebody who doesn't know what the hell's going on. That's me.
With Elijah Wood.
That's me playing Final Fantasy. Just FYI. That's like when I look at that game, I don't. We were talking earlier before we started recording. Like, I don't understand the hype because I never played it, and I don't have that tie back to this game. Like, it's
a mixture of nostalgia plus understanding Japanese culture.
Yeah, I also
makes it enjoyable.
I also don't do the weird Japanese games.
Yeah, weird Japanese games are not your thing, but also you never grew up playing Final Fantasy, so there's no tie there for you.
Yeah, so I'm like, people are losing their shit. I'm like,
enjoy it for its prettiness, I'm sure.
Well, when we played episode Duske, and we played was it Platinum Demo or whatever? They were fun. I just don't understand. To me, it's just like another game. Like it's not the hype that everybody's putting. I
think a lot of us, if I can speak for most of us,
going back to everybody.
You can speak for me.
Literally globally.
I'll let you.
A lot of us, at least at my age, we grew up. My first experience was Final Fantasy VII, and that's what solidified, my like, I like Final Fantasy. And since there has been nothing that has come close to being that good, just like the attachment to the characters and gameplay was all
but it's a story.
But we have wanted another game to be as good as 7 since, so I think that is like
that's
where
a lot of
hype
it
comes from.
It's just
part of us is just like, come on, you can do it. Just once, I want to relive that.
He's ready to blow everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting because Final Fantasy VII was the first one that really hit hard. Because, I mean, you remember, this is the 7th entry.
When did that game come out? What year was that game? Do we know?
I don't know. I mean, I think I was in 6th or 7th grade.
I would guess early 90s.
I know I was 6th or 7th grade when 90s. I played it.
If it's early 90s, that makes sense then, because I was born in 91. So that's why
somewhere
I'm
in that time period.
I'm going to check this real quick.
But but Final Fantasy VII was the first one to feature kind of heavily CG, because Final Fantasy VI, which was also Final Fantasy III, for those of you that are playing along.
97. I was playing Mario 64.
Late 90s.
I was playing Mario 64 at that point.
It was the first one to use CG to an extent, which also helped draw people in. And it was a 4-disc game, and it was kind of like, whoa, like for a machine of that standard to have to play this game on 4 discs, because it was that massive. There was lots of secrets, and you could literally sink hundreds of hours into it. Final Fantasy VIII, very good game. That was actually my preferred game at the time of the two. But also really weird. Like there's a moment towards the end of the first disc of Final Fantasy VIII where it appears as though the main character has died, and then weirdly enough, for the rest of the game, strange shit happens for no reason whatsoever. And I remember thinking, why am I fighting dinosaurs now? Like, it was like they're not a part of the any kind of story. And then there's a rumor that the character did die at the beginning of the first disc, and you are playing this kind of fever dream afterwards, which I thought was a fun little bit of creepypasta. But the fact is that they went through all these iterations. 10 was a beautiful game, 12 was a beautiful game. Then they started delving.
But you got hooked. So what it sounds like is you guys got hooked on 7 though, which again, I was 6 when that game came out.
Yeah.
So like it's
true.
But the weird part though is there's people that are my age that I guess, I don't know if it's their parents played it or what, because my parents never played video games. My dad, the only game I played with my dad was Madden, and they played Mario 64 with me a couple times. But me and my sister are 3 years apart.
Yeah.
So we played the cartoon games. I'm you both know, everybody knows, I'm a big cartoon fan, and I would play Nintendo nonstop. I didn't get a quote-unquote mature console, the Xbox, until later on, and that's when I got into Halo. So I didn't do the PlayStation
You just
stuff.
skipped over that kind of part.
Yeah, I just literally went from N60. I didn't have a GameCube. I went from N64 to Xbox.
I think for a lot of people though as well, because the original JRPGs were turn-based battle, so it was a case of you didn't feel like you had to have a certain skill level, but rather it was a brain game. It was a case of
Which I don't like thinking.
You know, how do I fight this with that? Which potion should I drop here?
Well, I guess
Exactly,
I'd play a game because I played Pokemon. I guess that was my RPG growing up. Was
Similar.
Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean that's turn-based battle.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing.
It's
just on a wider
cartoons.
scale and with things like summons and things, it just
Yeah.
made it a bit more interesting. But this is, but now, and here's the weirder part, is that after like 12, I think was the first one to move away from turn-based battle. If I'm correct.
This is all action.
And yeah, it was kind of like it was still kind of turn-based. It was slow, but it was not turn-based anymore. And then as they move forward from there, a lot of the fans of the series were super disappointed based purely on the fact that they were not turn-based battles.
Yeah.
At this point, you have this kind of pause system you can initiate, similar to Dragon Age, where you can kind of stop and think about your move and then continue. Not quite the same as turn-based, but at the same time... I think just the beauty, the scale, the fact that they've brought cities back, because there wasn't really any cities in the previous entry.
They brought a car.
A car, yeah, there's a fucking
modernizing
car.
it.
Why not?
Car.
You know,
I'm
there's
pleased to see a real-time battle. I'm really pleased to see just open world. Oh, there's something I'm going to go smoke and.
I was watching my friend
Huge
play it
fan.
on stream. She's in Australia. Kat Does Things on Twitch. Shout out to her. But she was playing it the other night or last night, and I was watching it. And again, it was one of those. I was asking all the stupid newbie questions because I don't understand it. And I was like, so what's the point of this? But when you see some of the stuff she's able to do, I was like, that's kind of cool. I don't like. Again, I think to me, it's more of the skin on it. Like if you put that in a modern time without the weird Japanese things, I would probably dig it. Like that's why I love the Division, because Division's modern New York. Well,
yeah. But it is a love letter to JRPGs.
Yes.
So if
you're into JRPGs, it makes total sense.
If you don't like it, you probably won't, and that's just the way it goes. And you know, it doesn't have to be for everyone. But at the same time, I think there are a pocket. Well, I say a pocketful. There's definitely more than a pocketful of people like me and Walker that have just been waiting for this for literally 10 years.
So you spent $60 on it.
There's people that pre-ordered this for the PS3.
Yeah, you spent $60 on it.
So I spent $60 on it.
I didn't spend $60 on it. I spent $0 on it.
But going back to your original point about whether it's worth spending $60 or not, I think the only other counterbalance to the thing, like of whether it's worth $60 or not, is what we were kind of poking at earlier, is the idea that now PlayStation is having what it feels like is a flash sale every other week, or if not every week. And
I mean, obviously Black Friday just happened, so that's
Friday was
expected. But there's
massive-
always something.
Yeah, but there's always this kind
That's
of
where
deals that
Skyrim
kick
came.
in.
Like I hoped Skyrim was going to be half off because again I didn't want to pay that full price.
I'm amazed they dropped the price that fast.
That was my thought too, because I've never played Skyrim, but I loved Elder Scrolls Online so much that David and you have been telling me I need to go back and play it. So I'm like, okay, but for $30, let's do it. For $60, let's wait. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, wow, because that wasn't on Black Friday. That was a flash sale, which was where that
Which
one
was the surprising part, is that they had a Black Friday sale, and then a day after they had a flash sale, and I'm like, and they're going at the same time.
Yeah.
So if you went through the deal section, you were just like, holy cow,
Everything
there's
was-
so many things
yeah.
on sale right now. It broke the
Titanfall
bank
was-
for me.
yeah, Titanfall was half off.
Because I was buying shit that I just like. I thought that I might want to replay one day. Like I was buying like Until Dawn and stuff. It was like, you know, $7. I'm like, well, I'm not going to pass that up, and I'm just going to anything
Too good to pass,
like
yeah.
that. I was
Sounds
just
like they're
picking
trying
up.
to emulate Steam sales of the summer.
Little bit,
Summer sale.
little
Well,
bit.
it's kind of nice though for people who have not played those games. Like I said, The Witcher was the one even though it's not a game I necessarily think I would like, I want to try it to see if I do. But again, I wouldn't spend $60 on it, but $25 was more reasonable if I wanted to pick it up.
And we're at a time
gives
of
the game a
year
second
where we're
life.
starting to gather more initial PlayStation 4 users that are maybe upgrading for the first time. They're getting their console for
Or getting the
Christmas.
Pro.
VR is bringing a lot of people in. The Pro is bringing a lot of people in. There's a lot of folks that have been posting on my Facebook feed lately saying, I just got a PS4 for the first time. What's good? What should I get?
You should go check us out at
That's literally what I've done on
www.level2gamers.com.
everything, yes. But
Every Wednesday we do
but
bites.
it's you know, it's kind of interesting to see almost the timing of it, is that like, because my buddy Keith, shout out to Keith, you guys know Keith, picked up my PS4 as I
and the
replaced
Division
it.
that you sold and gave to Keith.
I just gave it to him.
He's gonna play with us.
That was free. I just gave it to him.
Yeah, he did like the game. Was it worth free, Keith?
So I sort of upgraded for future proofing myself basically, but also hoping that it would help the VR a little bit be a bit
Call this
more...
justification of a purchase.
That's my justification. and
marketing.
I just blagged it a little bit basically. And so now we have the Pro here, but he took the PS4 and he's like reaching out and saying, hey, what should I get? I'm like, literally the day that I noticed there was a Black Friday sale and a flash sale, I was like, get on the PSN store fucking now.
Well, that's what I told him. I go. So for me, when it comes to making the purchase of whether games were 60, 30, whatever it may be, to me, if it's a single player game and I can't play with friends, it's less likely I'll pick it up full price. I'm the opposite of you two.
That's fair.
I'm a social gamer, so like The Division, I remember one of the coolest things, I want to get a game that we all did this, but for The Division, we were all waiting for that clock to hit 0 to load up that game, to play it together for the first time, hour 1. Like, we were all ready to go, rock and roll. It was amazing, and I mean, look how many hours I put in that game. Look at Elder Scrolls. I played Elder Scrolls once. So story of Elder Scrolls with me is I played it when it first came out because we played the...
We picked it up in the morning.
Yeah, we
went home and we played it.
That was before we did Bites. Like, that was just a playthrough we were starting to do, and then we just stopped it. But we were playing it for a little bit, and
you said, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And I said, you're about to get your mind blown.
I said, go to the glowy stick. And what the fuck's a glowy stick? Tapestry? But no, I picked up Elder Scrolls. I played it for like 20-ish hours. The problem is everybody that said they would play with me started going higher because they understood Elder Scrolls was my first major RPG, first major MMO. I did not understand terms. Like I was
drinking from a fire hose.
I literally, that's the first game I read about stuff I needed to do. And I researched, which I would never do for a game. But that one I was like, I feel like I need to.
Says something about the game, though, when you feel like you need to invest yourself more in the lore in order to not necessarily enjoy it.
It wasn't the lore. It was literally how do I craft?
Well, you know what I mean.
Like that kind of stuff. Like, what are the...
You need to research to
things.
become a better character.
Yes, and I've also switched my characters. I started off with just a heavy-hitting guy because I'm like, that's the easiest one to know. And then I now play Magic.
Jorgen Schmord.
Jorgensen? Zephyrius Jorgensen.
Zephyrius Jorgensen.
Zephyrius Jorgensen. He was a Nord.
That's great.
But I picked up that game, played it for probably 20 hours. I hit probably level 14 to 17, and then I just gave it up and never played it again. And then, months later... I don't know what happened. I think it went on sale. A bunch of people picked it up, and then
it did go on sale. But also, they started releasing more DLC content, namely the Brotherhood and
we played it before that,
Thieves' Den and things like that.
But we had a bunch of people pick it up, and again, playing with friends, we all loved me and David.
I had never stopped playing.
Yeah,
which is why I was massively overranked.
Yes,
which was great because it's the only game I've ever beaten you guys at for ranking.
Because we play every night.
Because you play all the time, and I play twice a week. Yeah. But somehow I was. Like very high rank,
but I didn't play.
You guys
are
probably beating me now at this.
Well,
point.
we don't play nearly as much anymore on our main characters. It
is a fantastic game
because we're trying to get a bunch of people just got it, so we're going to probably make another character. But now with One Tamriel, you don't have to. But no, the story there is like I bought it again because friends were playing it. So to me, if there's people playing it, same reason about Titanfall. David Tigrado owned it. James, he's another YouTuber in case you don't know. Shout out to him. But James had it. I was gonna pick it up. Cody said he's gonna pick it up. He hasn't done that yet. David picked it up when I picked it up. I was like, "Did you get Titanfall?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I did too." Cool. But that's to me even. I didn't get that 60, but even then, that's why I picked up the game. That's just.
I would not have bought Titanfall 2 at $60 at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I say I wouldn't, but I also...
I never played the first.
If enough people had it, I probably
only
would've.
on Xbox. So
yeah, it's $5 on Xbox, by the way. If you want
and
to
it was
multiplayer
only.
Yeah.
Which
to me is not an issue. So I think you guys buy a game. So you guys buy a game for single player, and if it has multiplayer, that's the bonus. Yeah. That's the...
If it's a good multiplayer.
Yes.
The problem is tacked on multiplayer.
To me, it's the opposite. If it's a good multiplayer, I might play the single. I've never finished a Halo campaign. Never will finish a Halo campaign. I don't give a shit about the Halo campaign. Let me shoot online with my friends. Like, that to me is the best part of those games, is the social aspect, and harkens back to me playing with my sister growing up. Like, we would always play Mario Kart 64, Mario Party, have the room full of couch co-op and play that. That's why I love... Have you ever heard of Overcooked?
No.
So Overcooked is a couch co-op game that I'm going to get you to come over. David's going to come over, and we're going to try and find we might have you as our fourth. We need a fourth person. Basically, you're a chef on couch co-op. It's old school couch co-op where you got to basically make meals and send them out to a restaurant. It's like Diner Dash, but better.
One person's chopping, another person's putting it on the boil.
Basically, it's me yelling at Tom 99% of the time.
That's kind of fun.
He turns into Gordon fucking Ramsay.
I do. But I love those kind of games. Like that's... I keep it in the pop filter, but that's to me. So if it has a good multiplayer and my friends are playing it, I'll pick it up. If it's just a single player game like Fallout... Yes, I got Fallout at launch partially because of the hype, but I kind of regret that decision because I didn't play it that much outside of building a base, which was fantastic.
That was true. You did treat it like Minecraft.
I am going to go back now. Now that there's mods, I'm going to go back in Minecraft even more.
Oh, that's funny.
So I have a mod right now that clears Sanctuary Hills completely flat.
I think it's fun to point out at this time. Why do you spend $60 on a game? What makes you drop that much money on a game at launch or closely after launch, or would you rather save the money?
And let us know if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, put it in the comments. If you're listening to us, head us up on Twitter, Facebook, whatever it may be, at Level 2 Gamers STL on Twitter, Facebook.com/Level 2 Gamers STL, and YouTube is www.level2gamers.com. Selfish plugs.
Double dash.
HTTP://
Okay, so moving on to last part.
What are we looking forward to? I know what you two are looking forward to. You've been talking about it all day.
Yeah.
I think it's something that has to do with a wet dream and a fantasy or something.
Sure.
Final Fantasy.
That's one way to put it.
Final Fantasy 15. You guys are both excited, obviously. It comes out as a recording the day of. This will obviously come out on Monday.
As you know, because way back when we played episode Duske, you couldn't comprehend the amount of excitement that I was having for that demo.
No, the only thing I remember from that playthrough is the Brave section.
Yes, but I was having a fucking blast with that game, and even though at that point it was literally a shell of what it was supposed to be,
I remember
it was literally
Deadeye?
like a proof of concept almost.
Was that the name of the beast? What was the beast? The Deadeye? The one that looks like
Deadeye, yeah.
It's the one. Yeah, it's the one that looks like the guy from Power Rangers.
Power Rangers, right?
Fuck, what's his name?
I don't fucking know.
Goldar. Looks like Goldar.
But episode Duske was like more like a proof of concept. It was like, this is kind of the idea that we have. Here's some of the type of monsters, but it was the same monsters over and over. And then they did the Platinum demo,
we both played that.
Yeah, the Platinum demo was gorgeous, and it was more like Kingdom Hearts, the way that they did the combat and things.
That's another series I haven't played, but I've been told I need to because Disney.
Yeah, I'm amazed that you haven't played
I didn't play PlayStation.
If you don't like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts is Disney with Final Fantasy. So it will make you like Final Fantasy because it forces Disney down your throat at the same time. But yeah, it was those demos were life for me. And by the way, they did update those demos, which I didn't even fucking know.
Oh, really?
They did updates to episode Duske, and they added things and they took things away, and I missed all of that.
I still have that.
But at this point, it's fucking out now, so who cares?
I don't have
who
it.
cares?
I'll go back and play this.
But yeah, so yes, obviously, me and Mr. Walker here are very excited for Final Fantasy 15, and I will be digging myself a big early grave with that game.
How many hours are you expecting to put in that?
God, here's the thing.
Do you think it's going to replace Elder Scrolls?
Oh yeah, easily.
So
I haven't played Elder Scrolls for a while.
So
right now, now the question is, will it replace VR?
I was going to say VR is the other
because VR has me.
So wait, you're gonna play a flat game?
Yeah, game.
You should play the flat game in VR, just so you can mix the two.
Maybe.
Well, don't they have a VR version to it or something?
There is an additional VR element
really
to
shitty.
it. Which
is it really bad?
We haven't played it yet. Let's give it a chance.
I'm not gonna give it. I'm just from reviews I've read online from IGN and from
fuck IGN for
and
reviews.
GameSpot.
Where trust me, it's gonna be good. And
Tom, I feel like Tom's gonna be a little biased.
Well, yeah, I might be, but at the same time, it will be the first flat game that I potentially I'm going to be more excited about than VR, because VR for me when I first played it, as you are aware because you were in the room, blew my fucking head off as a game format, and it's still. Even now, like I'll buy VR games that I would never in a million years buy on a regular console. You, who were like super fucking into it, like let's play VR all day every day, I've sort of not really followed.
I think it's partially because that stream weekend I just had so much of it in the first.
That's true, but at the same time, did you have fun with Hollow Ball today?
I did. I don't have anything against VR. So for me with VR, the hardest thing is just. I play the Division and I want to level up in Division. That's been my game go-to.
So it's now. More so that it's not necessarily a multiplayer experience.
I guess. I love. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Well, the soul
sense of identity.
Did I just learn things?
Well, if somebody's there with me, then yes, I enjoy it more. But like I booted up Job Simulator and I play that every so often. But it's gotten to the point now that
But it is a very lonely experience if you don't have someone in the room with you, because
but you get way
more
more
isolating
immersed.
than a regular game.
But you get way more immersed.
This is true. But at the same time, it is an isolating experience.
That's
Like,
why
there's been times when I've played it before work and I've been kind of like, I forget my dogs are in the room and stuff, and I'm just kind of like,
or you forget there's a
someone
microphone
could
or
just
a light.
rob my fucking house and I would not know.
That's terrifying.
I'd be down here.
There is a
Fucking
little
balls
fun
of
fact.
things.
There's a setting that you can turn on. We tried it, but you can hear yourself, which is really weird. Where you can hear, there's a microphone on the headset, so you can hear people outside. So if somebody talks, theoretically you can hear it through the headset if they talk loud enough.
It's good. It's a good
Kind
idea.
of breaks the immersion, which is good, so you know what's going on around you.
Yeah, but it's but I think that might be partially why I assume that as and when more multiplayer heavy experiences come to pass, one of which I believe is and I don't know how you feel about Star Trek, but Star
Me
Trek
and David
Bridge
have
Crew
me
is,
and
I hear,
David have
pretty
talked
soon.
about picking it up. He's probably gonna get the headset.
Yes. So the Star Trek Bridge Crew would be one of those that looks like an interesting, fun experience for a group of people to play. And of course, there are things like Eagle Flight, which are kind of multiplayer.
Yeah.
Riggs is multiplayer.
I can't play Riggs.
Drive Club, weirdly, not multiplayer.
No. Well, no, it is.
Is
Me
it?
and James played, which is weird. The problem with that though is you have to have somebody else who has a headset.
Weird.
That's
I didn't know.
me and James played. He doesn't want to talk about it because he got real angry because I beat him every time. Hi, James. I know you listen to this.
James dislikes losing at racing games.
Yeah.
That is kind of his thing.
Yes.
So, but
Final
yeah.
Fantasy 15. You're excited about anything else?
More VR, man.
More VR.
I mean, that's just give me it in spades every time a new. Like, literally, I'm at a point now, and I never do this. I'm at a point where when the drop comes, you know,
every Tuesday.
right?
So they come on Tuesday when we record. Tom's like, hey, let's check out the new VR games.
I get so stoked about it. Like this week, I'm looking at the 2 that have come out, and I'm like, might just have to pick those up.
Yeah, I seriously might pick up Hollow Ball. I mean, our thing will go up here in the next couple of weeks, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I can't wait to
Tron
put up the
tennis.
blooper of you smashing the microphone to pieces.
I didn't smash it to pieces. I punched it. Well, it's funny. So we went to go start recording the podcast.
It almost went into the TV.
How far did it? Because I can't
really far.
Because I hit it, but like
it landed like on the power strip down there. Like, it went. Oh yeah, it went across the room. Anyway. You anything else aside from Final Fantasy 15?
He's gonna go live in a hot.
No, frankly, that's the one I've been waiting for. I mean, there's a couple of games leading up to this. Watch Dogs and Mafia and all those are Dishonored too. But Final Fantasy 15 was kind of like the mark at the end of the season, and then the next stuff is coming in spring for me.
You excited for Horizon?
Yeah,
that's the
next one I'm super stoked about. I don't know how
I'm
I feel
actually
about
a little cagey on it.
It needs multiplayer.
You're cagey?
I'm a little cagey.
Are you Nick Cagey?
I'm worried.
Hey, I gotta laugh.
I'm worried. I'm worried that this one is going to be too much hype.
For what it is. Is it going to No Man's Sky it?
Maybe not so much, but just
Watch Dogs
some of these open world games. It's like open world shooters. It's really just like go from this place, go to this place. There's nothing in between.
Yeah.
You have very sparse things, but it's all the same kind of battles. So
there's a healthy dose of skepticism, I think, to be had with that.
Whenever
game.
you have ambitions that high, you have to be careful what you promise to your gamers, to your customers.
But saying that. Everything that's come out so far has been pretty.
But how much of the game is
looking.
that is the question.
Yeah. I'm gonna wait and see some more gameplay as it gets closer. See some more reviews.
Don't No Man's Sky it. Yeah. Hopefully that's all in.
Well, hopefully No Man's Sky is going to become.
They just did the Foundation update.
I'll give that another shot.
I paid full price for No Man's Sky.
I did too.
I'm one of those guys. So
I think it's funny because we talked about it, but we weren't going to record that initially, and we were both like, "Yeah," and then we found.
I like the game. I do genuinely enjoy the game. The problem is that it is, like you said, it's not really the longevity is not there.
No,
which is one of the major aspects.
But they added base building.
They did.
So
did they not add multiplayer as well?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm 99.9% sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they said that was a feature they were never gonna do.
I know, but I read a Reddit thread. Try saying that 10 times backwards. I read a Reddit thread that said that potentially that was something that was either coming or it was teetering on the edge of coming, and that was the one thing that was going to sort of bring people around.
Yeah.
I think the major complaints of that game are more so that like the life that was on these planets was basically stupid.
I hope
it was just going around in circles clucking. This
is my hope for No Man's Sky.
That's exactly what
I hope it becomes Subnautica-esque. Where it's like you have these planets. Granted, Subnautica's only on one planet, but you have these planets that have these great environments you go into, and you can build a planet or build and live on that planet and kind of survive. They are adding other game modes. They have a creative mode. They've added survival mode, and then there's a third one. I can't remember what it is.
Interesting. I think they have a lot of work to do to
I
gain
wish they
back
did it early
the people.
access.
But, talking about, Division, pulled it around. So it's a possibility that it might happen.
They pulled it around. I was quite happy. Well, it's still broken, but not as broken.
Yeah.
So,
I think No Man's Sky was
I'll give it another shot.
Massively
I'm
broken.
going to. I mean, I have it, so I buy things digitally. I don't get rid of shit. So I'm going to go and play
I
it.
did buy that one digitally on a whim, so I am...
Remember we found a massive thing of gold in our bite? We're like, holy shit!
We found a planet
we
of gold.
we literally found a giant mountain of gold, and
Just spent
Was-
like 10 hours
you were
mining
playing it, right? Where it's like, do we continue mining this or do we move on?
I don't
You're
know.
like, fuck it, we're gonna keep mining.
Yeah. So, that's there's that. There's that to potentially look forward to as an update for that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Division, like I said, 1.5 came out this
Division.
morning. I'm literally, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to get the podcast edited and I'm going to go play 1.5 because right now I got a text from James in between recording things saying his gear score is higher than mine, and I can't have that a thing. I need to be. I'm one of those people like I'm so competitive.
Got the itch.
I gotta be that first person to hit the. I'm sure Ian's gonna beat me because I almost would be like, Tom, we shouldn't record today. I need time.
More Division.
I need more Division in my life.
Wow. Here's a new drug addict, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
It is the
But no,
Division.
Division I'll do. That's going to be the big one as is. More Titanfall. I'm actually thoroughly enjoying Titanfall.
I like it. Yeah, I might spend some more time.
I
on
want
that
to get in the single
by
player
myself.
just to see what it is. I know nothing about it other than one spoiler that was told to me. So
I've not had any spoilers.
yeah, you're lucky. Apparently it's a big spoiler, but it's kind of like I got Star Wars.
To be fair, I know fuck all about the story anyway, so I don't know what it would spoil.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like Star Wars. I got Star Wars spoiled for me, but I still was surprised when it happened.
Right.
Like I still thought it was a great experience, and that could be a conversation in its own whether spoilers or could ruin.
They're
a game
always
or not.
shitty.
Yeah.
That's end of
I know,
conversation.
but you can still enjoy the experience.
Nothing more to be said.
Yeah. But no, Division, Titanfall, hopefully Skyrim if I can get that to stop crashing on me.
Yeah.
Those I just picked up.
I still have to play Tomb Raider.
I played
so
Rocket
that's
League
on my
with
list.
Blue last night for the first time, and so this is how long I played. Last time I played with him, we were streaming, and I've not streamed with Blue since probably May. And because the server name, you can choose a server name. It was Blue Power, so it was with Blue's one of our mods. Just FYI.
Yeah.
Drew. His name is Drew, but he's Blue.
Drew Blue.
Drew Blue. And so much has changed in that game. There's power-ups now. There's like bunch of different game modes, new arenas, obviously new cars have come out.
I really
but, like,
enjoyed Rocket League. I didn't think I would.
We should play it again on a Sunday stream.
Let's do a Sunday.
You should join us on a Sunday stream sometime.
Sounds good.
It would be a lot of fun.
Have you got Rocket League?
I have not. No, I've
should
heard a
get
lot
it.
about
It's
it.
$20.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
$20.
I,
I
to be
get it for
fair,
free.
I thought it was going to be shit. Was not shit.
Was not shit.
That's a good.
Sterling review there.
Speaking
That's
of,
you put that on the
Was not
cover
shit.
right there.
Tom Myers.
Was not shit. Level 2 gamers. Yeah.
Speaking of Rocket League, one of the things I want to plug, and this is just a personal thing that I absolutely love, was Danny O'Dwyer left GameSpot and did his own little Patreon thing. I can't remember the name of it. Honestly, it's like No Films or something. Did a thing on Rocket League, the development of it, and kind of how it's became what it did, because they had super powered acrobatic robot cars was the original Rocket League when it came out, and it flopped. And they talk about kind of how they took that concept and made it better, and then how the Sony exclusivity deal is, as much as they could talk about that. And it's really interesting. It's now on YouTube for free if you're Patreon, which I support him. I'm a big fan of what he's doing. You get it early, but look at, I want to say it's No Films. If you look at Danny O'Dwyer Rocket League, you'll find it if you search in YouTube. But I highly recommend anybody watch
Just the
that.
story of Rocket League.
Just the story of Rocket League, kind of the developers, and like how they were scared that they were going to go out of business because of it, because at that point, what Psyonix has done, not to give too much away, but what they were doing was just working for other people, and they had worked on Gears of War. Like Psyonix was one of the Gears of War developers, teams that were hired outside to work on it. So they had AAA people working on this game, but they were concerned that if they couldn't pull too many people off that because they had to obviously pay bills. So it's the scary of how much do I pull from where to what I do. It is quite interesting. I can't go over his accent though. Danny has an Irish accent and a little weird, but I highly
With a
recommend
name
it.
like Danny O'Dwyer, color me surprised.
O'Dwyer. So
Danny O'Dwyer.
I highly recommend
Danny
everybody.
boy.
I highly recommend everybody see that because I watched it the other day. He's got a couple more coming out here shortly. I don't know what the next one is, but
Right.
big fan of his. Speaking of Patreon, if you want to support Level 2 on Patreon.
Yeah, we have a couple people that give us money for no apparent reason.
Yeah, we got Wheezy,
Thanks to them.
Grotto, and Blue.
Yeah, Wheezy's nuts.
Wheezy needs to give us a question. By the way, normally what we'll do is we'll do a Patreon question.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on Wheezy to give us one.
Yeah.
During the bonus level.
Yeah.
He's doing other stuff though.
He's a busy man.
Patreon is patreon.com/level2gamersstl. There will be a little bar going boop.
Just $1 a month, and you can save Keegan from something, I don't know,
Division
disease
addiction,
or homelessness, or
division addiction.
just division
No,
addiction.
honestly, we're honored if you do support us on Patreon. You don't have to. You don't have to at all.
Yeah.
But sharing our content,
even if you don't want to do that, which is, let's be honest, you probably don't. Just fucking share, comment, like, just any kind of interaction at all. Even if it's just a second you watch this podcast and you think that was a fun podcast, I quite like it. Just share it. Just press the share button. Say, hey, I like this podcast.
If you're listening on iTunes, rate us on iTunes.
This
is shameless plug
us a
time.
rate.
Do you have anything you need to plug?
Yeah, do you have anything to plug?
No,
you're not
wanna
on YouTube, so you're not cool enough.
No, but let me tell you something. The reason why I really enjoy your channel is because you guys believe so strongly in what you're doing and the games that you play. You give
paid
them
him to say
honest
this.
reviews. No, you really didn't. You really didn't. But no, I mean that's what drew me into your channel, and we were friends before I knew you guys were doing this. But no, I mean you guys do good work.
Thank you. We do good work. As what'd you say earlier? You do good work in small quarters.
Yeah,
tiny quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Walker got to see all three of our setup. Well, no, he didn't see the bite setup.
No,
but,
which is probably the easiest.
Yeah, literally just move this table that way.
Yeah, turn the microphones.
Yeah, turn the microphones that way.
Good to go.
And then we're good. But yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. That's very nice of you to say.
Appreciate it. So
I guess we should wrap up. We've been going for hour 20 at this point. Not that it really fucking matters because no one's paying us anyway, so we can be as long as we want. But
we're gonna do a 24-hour podcast one of these times.
Whoa, gosh, I don't know if I could do that. Maybe with a nap or two in between. We'd like to thank Mr. Walker here for joining us on our podcast, and also for the VR sessions.
We don't know when those are going up. We have a couple that are already ready to go, but we might sneak it in beforehand, just so he
had a really fun time on Time Machine VR, which is something that's going to be coming up, and you should enjoy that. And also got to witness Keegan's material destruction during our Hollow Ball VR as well.
I think it's funny because when you played London Heist, you got so into he was ducking under the tables, he was rolling around. Well, not rolling physically, but he was like,
I would have wrecked your whole space down here.
Yeah, he was moving and grooving. It was quite a thing to see. It's quite awesome. Yeah. So, but
such is the power of VR.
But yeah, if you want, subscribe to us on level2gamers.com. That's our YouTube channel. Again, we're on Facebook at facebook.com/level2gamersstl, Twitter at level2gamersstl, Instagram at instagram.com/level2gamersstl. What else? What other social media? We have a Twitch. We've gone back to YouTube for a couple reasons.
Twitch.
Yeah, YouTube is. We want to keep everybody on.
We're only going to Twitch when we're doing something we're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah, pretty much. So E3s and
that's what it boils down to.
E3s and the
when
events.
we steal E3 streams and put them up and pretend they're ours, that's when we go.
we legitimately confused people. That was great.
It's amazing how much shit we get away with as a small channel that we should not be allowed to get away with, but we do anyway.
I don't know,
because
our
of
reviews.
Our charm and good looks.
Yes.
Right.
So tomorrow we got what review? We got Swiss Army.
Swiss Army Man was today. Tomorrow's a bite. It is small
next week's Zootopia.
radios, big televisions.
Yeah, Zootopia's next.
Oh yeah, because we're next week, right?
Yeah, next week. Yeah.
Hawken is what's up tomorrow.
Hawken, and then VR. VR will either be his or we got a couple other ones, like I said, that are ready to go. So I don't know.
And potentially the Friday video might be about my dogs. Which is so stupid. But at the same time, we told you Fridays were going to be weird. And
I really want to do it in daily life of Keegan, just wake up and just have music and just walk around with my phone.
They're going to be as bizarre as we can possibly make them. It might be something like him editing a video. It might be a story about my dogs. You'll never know until you tune in on Friday.
And fun fact, that Friday video you saw last Friday, before this went up, I still have not recorded, so I've got a couple things I got to do before I play Division tonight.
Yes, exactly.
I keep punching this damn thing.
Keegan, all right. Let's
wrap it up.
Destroyed enough equipment for today. Thank you very much for watching, guys.
And or listening.
And or listening as well. And as always,
welcome to the second level. Bye.
So thank you so much for watching our podcast. It's worth pointing out that this podcast is also available in audio format from any good podcasting site, really. We're talking about iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, you name it. So if you don't feel like seeing our ugly faces, you can just listen to our ugly voices instead.
Your voice is pretty because it's English.
Thanks.